Hello, and welcome to the second video in the March rapid fire question and answer series that we're doing in lieu of the nutrition workshop. The second question that I'm going to cover is, how can I maintain adequate protein levels when I donate plasma? This question was asked by someone who donates plasma and sometimes has low protein levels to where they can't donate. And then they also asked, when they focus on adding protein into their diet, they gain weight, and how can they avoid that? So we'll talk about both parts of that question today. So first off, what is plasma? Plasma is the liquid part of our blood. It contains vital proteins that help clot blood and support our immune systems. It also carries electrolytes to our muscles and helps maintain proper pH levels in the body. So when people donate plasma, that donated plasma is then used to make medications to help people who have autoimmune diseases and blood clotting issues. And like I said, that plasma contains protein, so that's why protein and plasma are connected. So when you donate plasma, they are removing serum protein from your blood. So maintaining a diet that has adequate protein is essential. The recommended daily allowance, or RDA, for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Simply, if you weigh 150 pounds, that's about 54 grams of protein per day. Most research now that's coming out is showing that 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is actually a little low on the low end. That's a minimum. So, a lot of people think that getting enough protein seems straightforward enough. However, there are a lot of things that it can impact protein absorption and efficacy. So, for instance, if you're somebody who donates plasma and you experience low protein serum levels, here are a couple more things that could affect that and why. Number one is hormones. Postmenopausal women and postandropausal men will have a harder time maintaining muscle mass. This increases the need for protein in the diet. If you don't know what postandropausal means, it is the male version of the term postmenopausal. So men go through age-related sex hormone changes as well as women do. We just don't call it postmenopausal because you're men, so it's andropausal. Type of protein is also important, and that brings us to this age-old question of animal or plant, omnivore versus vegetarian. That you can decide on for yourself, but a lot of research is showing that animal proteins are more bioavailable for the body and that they have a superior amino acid profile. Another thing to think about when you're eating or deciding whether meat or veggie is that animal products are highly concentrated forms of protein. So you can eat 3 ounces of beef or you can eat 3 ounces of broccoli, but because beef highly concentrates protein, you're going to have a lot more protein in that 3 ounces of beef versus that 3 ounces of broccoli. And then amount of protein. So research is also showing that RDAs of protein might be too low. So that number that we talked about here, research is showing that that might be too low, especially for individuals over 65 years of age, and that's men and women. The study that I have down here, this one, it says for female adults, but there are studies that are the same study but for male adults. This one just focused on women. Both of these studies also correspond with their numbers up here, so if this is something that you find really interesting and you want to learn more about, I would highly recommend checking all 3 of these studies out. You can just copy and paste that citation, put it into Google, and you'll be able to read the study. So how do we maintain adequate serum protein levels? So number 1, eat good protein, and number 2, eat enough protein. So good protein, making sure that your protein is bioavailable and easily digested is important. And like I said in the slide previous to this one, animal products, meat, eggs, and dairy, offer the most of bioavailable forms of protein. For vegans and vegetarians, adding a good protein shake is a really great way to incorporate more bioavailable protein into the diet. Soy isolate protein being one that scores pretty high on the scale, close up there with animal products is the soy isolate. And then eating enough protein. So, like I said, that RDA might be low if you aren't taking your age, activity level, and gender into account when you're deciding how much protein you need to include in your diet. So, always think about those things when you're looking at how much protein do I really need. Some people need up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, and athletes most likely need more than that. And remember, every gram of protein is 4 calories. So if you're trying to either maintain your weight or lose your weight, but you want to add protein, you need to take that into account. It's adding calories. So if adding protein is the only change you make to your diet, you're adding calories and you could gain weight. If that is not your goal, you need to adjust your carb or fat intake to accommodate the additional protein, the additional calories that come with protein. So an easy one is protein and carbohydrates are both 4 calories per gram. So if you add a gram of protein, you can reduce your carbs by 1 gram. That's an easy give and take. But you'll most likely need to kind of work with all 3 macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats to make sure you're getting enough of each one in order to keep everything normal and good. And last but not least, don't forget to get moving. Muscle mass is heavily impacted by movement, and I know that we've been talking about protein serum levels and not really relating those to muscle. We've just related that to plasma, but protein doesn't just affect your plasma levels. Protein also affects your muscle mass. So if you're donating plasma and you're finding that your protein levels are low, that could be having an impact on your skeletal muscle mass. And as humans age, we have our bone density decreases, and the number one decider or factor in bone density in old age isn't calcium, it's actually lean muscle mass. So we need to make sure that we are maintaining our lean muscle mass, and maybe all you're doing is yoga or walking the dog or taking the stairs when you get to work or parking in the very last stall at the grocery store and walking all the way to the front doors. But every little thing counts and every little thing makes a difference. So move, move, move. I can't stress this enough. Today is April 1st, 2020. So if you are stuck at home quarantined due to the COVID-19 crisis, maybe you are walking laps in your backyard. If you don't want to walk your neighborhood, you can walk your neighborhood. Just stay 6 feet away from people. Take your dog out. They love it. Walk up and down your stairs in your house. If you don't have stairs, run in place or, do crunches, something, anything. Muscle mass is very, very important for overall health and longevity, and protein plays a crucial part in muscle mass. So anyways, that is video 2 for the rapid fire question and answer series that we're doing right now. My next video will be on brain health, so stay tuned because that one's going to be really good. Other than that, have a wonderful Wednesday evening. Hang in there, and we will see you next time.